My motherly aunt wants me to give up my unborn baby girl to my godly infertile cousin. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we start, please like and subscribe the video. The goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers till the end of the year. If you are not subscribed, please do. Anyway, let's begin today's story. Alright, so this is going to sound absolutely insane, but here it goes. I, 24F, am 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, and the past few months have been a living hell because of my aunt and cousin. This story is a mess, and I'm honestly looking for advice because I have no idea what to expect once my daughter is born. For some background, my aunt raised my sister and me after my mom died when I was 6. She stepped in like some self-appointed savior, taking us in and playing the perfect mother card at every chance. She's one of those super religious, holier-than-thou types. Mormon, to be exact. Every conversation with her is like a Sunday sermon, even when it's about the most basic stuff. And don't even get me started on her beliefs. To her, living a good life means living it by some rigid, outdated set of rules. It's always about being godly, or else you're condemned to a life of sin. Anything outside of her world is just wrong. My cousin, who is her daughter, has been struggling with infertility for years now. It's been hard on her, and I genuinely felt for her in the beginning. I've always tried to be supportive, even before I got pregnant. But that all changed the second I announced that my partner and I were expecting. Everything took a turn, and my aunt lost her mind. After my announcement, my aunt came over pretending to be excited. I knew something was off right away. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "I know you're probably feeling overwhelmed, and I think we need to talk about what's best for the baby." I was confused. "What do you mean? My partner and I are thrilled. We've been planning for months." Her face got all tight, and she did that fake smile she does when she's about to say something awful. "Well, I think you need to consider giving your baby to someone who can really provide the kind of life she deserves." My jaw hit the floor. "What the fuck are you talking about?" "You know," she said, "your cousin has been trying for so long, and this could be God's way of answering her prayers." That's when I lost it. "No, absolutely not. This is my child. You're insane if you think I'm giving her up." She had the nerve to act like I was the crazy one. Think about it. Your partner's not Christian, and you both work full-time. A child needs a stable home, a foundation of faith. Your cousin can give her that. Don't be selfish." Selfish? I'm selfish for wanting to raise my own child? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I kicked her out of my apartment and told her to never bring it up again. Of course, it didn't end there. My aunt is relentless, and she kept pushing. Calls, texts, voicemails, all trying to convince me that I was confused and that I wasn't thinking clearly. I blocked her on everything, but she started showing up unannounced at my door, banging on it like a maniac. One day, she waited outside my building until I came home from work. She was parked in front, leaning against her car like she owned the place. "We need to talk," she said, rushing up to me before I could even get my key in the door. "There's nothing to talk about," I snapped. "I told you already, we're keeping the baby." Her voice went all fake sweet again. "Let's just go to the cafe, have some tea, and discuss this like adults. You'll see it's the right thing to do. I'm not giving my child to my cousin, and that's final." That's when she dropped the act. "You're making a mistake," she hissed, her eyes narrowing. "You're not fit to raise a child. You're too young, too selfish. My daughter is ready to be a mother, and you're just in the way." I shoved past her, went inside, and locked the door behind me. I heard her yelling outside for another 10 minutes before she finally gave up. The apartment manager had to tell her to leave. And then there's my cousin. She's been quieter about the whole thing, but I know she's just as crazy. I heard through family gossip that she's been posting all over social media, joining motherhood groups, and harassing women to give her their babies. She even got banned from a bunch of them for being creepy. It's disgusting. My cousin had a stillbirth last year, and I know she's traumatized by it, but this isn't the way to handle grief. She's acting like my baby is some replacement for the one she lost, and it's honestly terrifying. She's convinced herself that I'll see reason once the baby's born and hand her over. The closer I get to my due date, the worse things are getting. I've moved to a new place, and they don't know where I live now, thank God. But my aunt's church friends are still harassing me. I've been getting these bizarre, passive-aggressive messages from numbers I don't recognize. Things like, "A child belongs in a home with God," and "Don't let your pride condemn your daughter to a life of sin." It's exhausting. These people don't even know me. Last week, my aunt managed to get my dad involved. He's not religious, but he's always been the peacemaker in the family. He called me, saying he didn't want to take sides, but that I should hear them out and at least think about it. I told him to go fuck himself. I couldn't believe he was actually entertaining this bullshit. "Why would I ever give up my baby, Dad? This is insane." He tried to reason with me, saying my cousin has had it rough and that maybe I could share custody or some other nonsense. "She just wants to be a mom so badly," he said. "Well, that's not my fucking problem, is it? I didn't get pregnant for her benefit." There was a long silence on the other end before he sighed. "I get it. I do. But family is family. Maybe there's a compromise." "No," I said firmly. "There is no compromise. She's my daughter, and no one is taking her away from me." I hung up before he could say anything else. I love my dad, but he's always been on my aunt's side no matter what. I'm not letting him drag me into this mess any more than I already am. A few days later, I found out from my sister that my cousin has been going around telling people that she's waiting for me to give birth. Like she actually believes I'm going to change my mind once I see how hard motherhood is and hand over my baby girl to her. It's delusional. "She thinks she's going to raise your baby?" my sister asked, her voice full of disbelief. "Yep," I said, rubbing my temples. "She's out of her mind." Holy shit. I explained everything to her. The messages, the harassment, the fact that our cousin was basically stalking motherhood groups looking for a baby to adopt. My sister was horrified. "What the fuck is wrong with them?" she muttered. I wish I knew. We talked for a while, and she offered to come stay with me for a few days before the baby's born, just in case things escalated. I wasn't sure if it would come to that, but I appreciated the offer. The whole situation has me on edge, and I've been having nightmares about my cousin trying to steal my baby from the hospital or something. As my due date approaches, I've made sure to cut off contact with anyone who might be on their side. My partner and I had a small private wedding a few weeks ago, partly so we could lock down our legal rights in case anything happens. I don't trust my aunt or her church friends not to try something crazy once the baby's born. I've also spoken to a lawyer. I know it sounds paranoid, but I want to be prepared. I've got everything documented. The harassment, the messages, the times my aunt showed up unannounced. If they try anything, I'm ready to fight back. I'm scared, though. Not of them taking my baby, because that's never going to happen, but of what lengths they might go to. My cousin is clearly desperate, and my aunt is the type to justify anything with her twisted version of morality. I don't know what they're capable of. Update. My daughter was born last week, and she's perfect. I've never felt so much love in my life. My partner and I are exhausted but happy. We're soaking in every moment with her, and I'm trying not to think about the drama with my aunt and cousin. Unfortunately, the peace didn't last long. I hadn't even been home from the hospital for 48 hours when my aunt tried to show up. I didn't open the door, of course, but I saw her through the window. She was pacing back and forth on the sidewalk, looking like she was waiting for me to let her in. I called the police. They showed up quickly and escorted her away, but she didn't go quietly. She kept yelling about how I was making a mistake, how I was denying my daughter a better life. It was insane. My partner was ready to confront her, but I told him to stay inside. I didn't want to make things worse. After the incident with my aunt, I finally decided to take legal action. My lawyer is helping me file a restraining order against her, and we're considering doing the same for my cousin, just to be safe. I don't want them anywhere near my daughter. I've also reached out to other family members to let them know what's going on. Most of them are supportive, but there are a few who still think I'm overreacting. She's just desperate for a baby, they say, as if that excuses her behavior. I don't care anymore. My priority is my daughter's safety, and I'm done trying to appease anyone. If they don't like it, that's their problem. I'll keep updating if anything else happens, but for now, I'm focused on being the best mom I can be. I'm not letting anyone ruin this time for me.